Hello everyone, my name is Phawx. Once again we're taking a look at the GPD Win Max. Here we are taking a look at Persona 4 Golden. This just came out today on Steam, and a few people had asked me about it, so I picked it up and thought we'd take a look at it. Right now you can see we're running pretty much locked at 30 frames a second. CPU package power is at 15 watts, total system power is at 22 watts completely. One interesting thing that's worth noting is that while it says that it supports gamepad right here, for whatever reason it's not picking up X input at all, so I did have to use anti-micro and go in here. Let's go down here. You can see like 1, 2. Basically I just went to anti-micro and quickly mapped a bunch of keys to the gamepad input so that it could just work without really having to fuss much about it. So gamepad is working. You can see me kind of tooling around on the gamepad itself, but in the background we are converting that to key presses. If we go through here, you can see I have rendering resolution set to 200%. Everything else is set to high. We'll go to high on that. And it runs with very little fanfare, like it's not, just kind of runs. So, actually, I'm supposed to have 60 FPS, if I read correctly from what Durante said. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Full screen VSync. Curious. Well, in any event, at these super high settings, the highest settings that they go to, and within reason. I mean, no one should have expected this to really require that much out of the machine. Also, there's a tremendous amount of. Man, here we go. So there was a lot of high contrast areas. So I do apologize for the. Sometimes you're going to see my reflection a bit. I try to lock exposure a bit, but because when I go into the menu it'll be kind of blown out. I think it's a little bit better that I kind of just let the camera decide what needs to be done here. One thing that is worth noting, and I'm sure a lot of Persona people already know, getting it to just getting in game took forever. I've only very briefly had access to my character, and I've just kind of been sitting through a lot of exposition. In the event that I have to continue sitting through exposition, I might kind of pass through this, but kind of mixed feelings about this.
Mom and Dad are busy as always.
And you can kind of just see that everything is. Let me see if I can just focus on this a bit better. There we go. So we can get a little bit better quality understanding. Game looks pretty solid, and obviously from where it was coming from to where it is now, again, no one should expect it to be all that difficult. I would like to see if I can get into game without having a whole bunch of exposition though, so I might try to fast forward past this. That was interesting. Look, we're going to 60 FPS, but every time it goes to a cutscene, it goes to 30 FPS. That is interesting. Why is it doing that?
Looks like I made the right. Sorry, but I gotta go. I don't know how late I'll be.
It may make sense to kind of limit this to 30 FPS entirely, instead of fluctuating between 30 and 60 all the time. Especially because 30 requires very little power. You can see that we're like 11 watt right now. Battery life should be tremendous when playing on the Win Max itself, which is good.
For this week. Next, let's take a look at the hourly breakdown of tomorrow's with storm clouds moving. Let's eat. He investigates stuff. Like
Alright, so we passed that part, and we are kind of locked at 60 FPS right now. Don't really want to talk to her all that much. One thing that I would be interested in noting is if this gets patched a little bit better to support X input, because X input does not seem to be working straight out of the box just yet, so it's something that I would like to just see happen instead of trying to use anti-micro. Yeah. Whoa, this is what I mean by the contrast thing. Goodness gracious. Apologies for that. I should get some rest. Yes. Hey. How's it going, guys? Camera focus. There we go. I find it a little bit weird that it's just kind of, well, I guess every time it's a cutscene, they're just made for 30 FPS, and then when you're playing the game, it'll allow 60 FPS. I guess that's how it's just supposed to be. And we're back to 60 FPS. The amount of power required to hit 60 FPS seems to, we're still using more. I would, again, my advice would be to just lock this to 30. And also, like, because I am remapping keys to keyboard keys, we have this kind of erratic movement in the gamepad. So hopefully that we do see patches with X input support getting fixed. Because right now it's very, very uber directional. And the amount of differing contrast. I do apologize, guys. I want to make this as easy to view as possible. Tuesday.
Breakfast ready.
Yet more exposition.
Good morning.
Alright, I mean, this is just a basic quick view of Persona 4 Golden. I don't anticipate this game actually requiring any amount of actual stress from the machine. One quick way to look at that is if we just look at our package power, we've been at 14 watt, even though that our ceiling is 25 watt. The game overall isn't very demanding. Total system power right now is 16 watt. Again, I would recommend just kind of hard locking at 30 FPS. No matter which way you look at that, maybe just taking a look at it through Riva Tuner to lock that at 30. Having said that, I'm not really too concerned going further in the game that this is going to suddenly require a tremendous amount of power. I don't see that happening with how far I've been playing into it. This game does not seem to require all that much juice. So yeah, I mean, at that point it's basically just making sure that the game isn't buggy and that the port is well. So far so good. The only thing that I would point out is that I would want better gamepad support, because right now we do have to change that. But yeah, that's it. This is Persona 4 Golden running on the GPD Win Max. Runs pretty well and fine outside of that issue. That issue being the controllers. As always, guys, thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.